Discover the impact that artificial intelligence is having on the cybersecurity industry. In fact, a lot of jobs are going to get impacted and potentially even disappear or completely transform due to the advances that are happening in cybersecurity related to artificial intelligence. You have to make sure that you, as a cybersecurity professional or somebody trying to break into cybersecurity, is up to date, especially in the next 12 months. Because if not, you could wind up with an education that is 2 to 3 years behind. You could wind up studying or attempting to get a role that is no longer even there. And probably more importantly, if you're in the middle of your career, you could get half of your job or potentially your whole job washed away if you're not updating your skill set to adapt to the changing landscape that AI is creating inside of cybersecurity. You need to future-proof your career, and in this video, we're going to cover everything that it takes in order to do just that. Is AI going to take over your job in the next 12 months? Let's jump in and find out. What is up, current and future cyber defenders? I am your boy, HackWithZach, aka Zach Marcy. Welcome to probably the most important video that you're going to watch in the next 2 years. If you are either a current cyber defender or somebody that is entry level trying to break in, or if you are someone that is looking to transition into a better paying job, and you're not already utilizing AI. Yes, if you're studying, you're not utilizing AI. If you're currently doing a cybersecurity role and not using AI, or if you're looking to transition into a better job and studying and not using AI, you are 2 years behind already. And probably within 12 months, you're going to be so far behind the actual curve, you're going to have a really hard time either keeping or getting another job or promotion. Am I saying this to scare you? I'm saying this to inform you. I'm saying this to make sure you are prepared and on the cutting edge of what is going to be the AI cybersecurity revolution. It's here. Now, coming in February, CompTIA is going to have a Sec AI Plus certification. And many of the other educators are coming out with AI for cybersecurity types of education. They're behind. Many of the curriculums that are going out there right now, they're behind. I personally was in a master's degree class. I was 3 classes deep, smashing it, looked down the road and saw, wait a minute, none of this has AI curriculum in it, and I need to do this for the next year and a half in order to get my master's degree? There's no way. I stopped my program and immediately pivoted to educating myself and being on the cutting edge of implementing LLMs and agentic AI into my cybersecurity path, helping utilize it within my current role, helping utilize it within all of my labs and all of my study, because the landscape has changed. This is going to require us to change too. When I tell you, if you are not actively doing this right now, that needs to stop after this video. Literally, I can't express this or impart this upon you enough. I watched this happen with the original .com bubble. Yes, I've been in the industry this long. I was doing web development way back then, and I knew there was a huge shift that was happening. Not enough companies were online, but it reached a saturation point. I knew that we were going to get to a point where only the best were going to survive in the industry and everybody else was going to wind up falling off. We're at this same critical juncture with AI and cybersecurity. This one is going to be a little long, but it's going to be the most important video that you're going to watch in the next 12 months to 24 months. Let's jump straight into it. AI is taking over cybersecurity roles. It's the blunt truth, but it's also providing so many opportunities where you can become bulletproof or actually a subject matter expert over the next 10 to 20 years on this precipice of a huge revolution. You just need to make sure that you are taking the appropriate approach. And this framework that I'm going to teach you inside of this video is exactly how, not just if AI winds up turning this cybersecurity industry on its head, it already has done it, but if you're going to learn the kind of framework to take a step back, a meta framework to take a step back and look at any huge epic change that happens within your cybersecurity career, being able to adopt it early, become a subject matter expert on it, pivot while everybody else is whining and crying and scared, you're going to walk in with poised confidence and a really structured, managed approach to being an early adapter, an early evolver, where everybody's coming to you and you're going to print. You're going to be able to write your own paycheck and write your own jobs. That's the promise of this entire framework. So AI is replacing certain cybersecurity jobs. It's just the absolute truth. And I'm also going to talk about some of the half-truths and some all-out bull that's sitting in there. We're going to look over the tasks that AI is replacing, the jobs that are going to be most affected, but then also you understanding exactly what roles AI will never be able to replace, and for you to go super deep into making those your expertise. Also, how if you're just an entry-level person coming in, which it's the bar for entry is getting higher and higher, how you can leverage AI to suddenly become very, very good at your craft of cybersecurity, even as an entry-level person, and leverage it into a huge role. Maybe your first, maybe an advancement, but leverage it into your first or huge role. Then we're going to talk about the new jobs that AI is actually creating so you can get ahead of the curve or potentially pivot into one of these roles. And I'm going to give you a roadmap on how to stay employable for the next decade. So before we jump into this, it's a huge favor to both myself and also yourself to right now like this video. Make sure that you stay subscribed and hit subscribe. But probably just as important, I'll let you go ahead and do both of those. Hit that notification bell on the upper right-hand side. I literally have created a complete roadmap with labs and education courses on how to utilize AI in cybersecurity because there's not enough of it out there. You hit that notification, you're going to get updated every time I start releasing this. I have a big pivot for this entire channel that's going to help you stay involved in being able to implement this into your career. But you got to know when those videos come out. Go ahead and let you do that. Thanks and welcome back. Let's jump straight into this. If you're new to the channel, just as an FYI, I only teach things that I have either done or held a role in. So you're always going to get something that I am doing or something I've been a part of. With that being said, everything that you're going to get inside of here is exactly what is going on with me and how I've pivoted, how I'm helping clients, how I'm helping the businesses that I work with or my business that I'm in, and how I'm helping my clients and you guys pivot. One inevitable truth that you have to understand. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, AI for cybersecurity, it's coming. No, it's here. If you aren't already at that point where you acknowledge and recognize that this industry is and has shifted significantly, you're already behind. So just accept that as fact. Second, attackers are using AI to scale their attacks at a level I have not seen ever happen this fast and this big and orchestrated so well that It's very scary for people that are still using traditional methods to try to combat AI based attacks. You're seeing like phishing and reconnaissance and enumeration and malware and orchestrated distributed denial of service attacks, DDoS attacks. These DDoS attacks are insane right now. You know, thousands, like tens of thousands of IPs coming at one endpoint at crazy paces, all getting orchestrated at the same time, rotating a lot of the TTPs and IOCs. It's insane. And the only solution to combat that is going to be cyber defenders that are utilizing AI to take faster action, to analyze logs faster, to hunt heuristics and anomalies faster, and to reduce the time that it takes to analyze, report on, do something, and then pivot into an actual action. AI has a capability of being able to help you do all of these things that previously entry-level people were doing. Now you're going to have an AI agent doing it. So the question you should be asking yourself isn't, is AI going to be replacing my job? It's, how can I leverage AI to be better at my job, add value to my company, and either break into the cybersecurity industry or pivot and get a better role with the knowledge that I have with AI? If you're asking yourself, oh my God, like I'm scared, is AI going to replace my job? You are in the wrong thinking. If you are thinking, how can I adapt? You are one of those people that is going to wind up being way ahead of this curve and way ahead of so many other people. They're going to be losing out to guys like you, ladies like you. So how do we do that? Well, you first have to know exactly what kind of tasks AI is replacing. So I want you to think of everything that either a tier 1 SOC analyst or a tier 1 cybersecurity analyst does. SIM alert reviews, log correlation, tuning, alert tuning, assigning severities to different level of attacks that are coming in, the escalating repetitive cases like phishing that needs malware investigation. The tier 1 layer is going to go away to AI agents, which requires you having tier 2 skill set to get entry level positions, right? So that makes sense. If you know how to deploy tier 1 AI agents or how to take tier 1 based information and action it, that's where you need to be spending your time. Another area that you're going to see go by the wayside is basic threat intelligence processing. So think of when an indicator of compromise comes in and you need to go and do some investigation or research on it. An agentic agent, AI agentic agent, is going to do that in a second, and you're going to have all that intelligence right in front of you on a dashboard immediately. Things where patterns are coming in and you need the AI tool needs to match that pattern to like an attack vector. That's going to get done. Risk scoring. One of the areas where this is going to affect pretty much every tier 1. Checking IPs against open source databases, checking domains against threat intelligence feed, analyzing file hashes, checking for CVEs. A lot of those things, they're just going to be instantaneous now. They're not going to be a job that a human's going to be doing. They're going to be a unified dashboard that's sitting in front of you, or an agent that works with a script and some kind of either AI or machine learning enhancement, and it's going to pull it into one repository source sitting in front of you. It's not going to be a task for a human anymore. And we want that. That way you can have more specialized knowledge. When it comes to like vulnerability scanning and reporting, all of this is going to get automated. You're going to be overseeing as a cybersecurity professional, you're going to be overseeing a lot of these agents, running the scans, writing remediation suggestions, creating prioritization list of how each exploit needs to get done, at what order because of the threat and severity of it, and things like that. It's all going to be automated, it will require you as an analyst to get in there and enhance these reports or make sure that they're valid. Compliance checks. This is really going to affect kind of like the auditors and the analyst that do things like PCI compliance or HIPAA compliance or SOC 2 compliance, GDPR compliance, any of those any of like the NIST frameworks or the frameworks that you need to adhere to in order to maintain cybersecurity insurance or any kind of business process that you do, especially like GDPR if you're doing worldwide transactions as a retailer. You need to adhere to all of these standards. Well, guess what? It's not going to be an individual with a spreadsheet and checking off boxes. Instead, it's going to be an AI agent. It's going to be emailing the appropriate people, accumulating the appropriate evidence, storing it into a shared drive, checking it off, and then having these reports, boom, at a click of a button, and all of this process getting done in 1/10 of the time. Like the drift analysis or gap reports where you want to be at a certain level of cybersecurity, but yet you're here and all of the information that you need in order to get to where you want to be. Those gap analysis reports used to be pulled together by human beings, and it would take weeks to do these things, and they're getting done in a couple of minutes. And those are the kind of checks that you're going to see go by the wayside here with cybersecurity tasks being done. SOC incident summaries. So cybersecurity incidents and SOC incident summaries, I've written so many of these. They used to take a long time to do. They would take hours and sometimes days to do. But they're taking minutes now because the AI agents that are working right alongside the SOC person or the cybersecurity analyst is creating like the timeline narratives as you go. They're doing they have all of the incident information as it's emerging, and they're even having like forensic summaries at a click of a button because the malware analysis has already been inspected or whatever the incident that happened. All that information is timelined and detailed and kept by an actual AI agent. The human being doesn't have to do this anymore. I literally just talked about my first 2 years in cybersecurity on everything that I was doing at entry level. All of that stuff now is an AI agent doing it. So it's cool, but at the same time, it's not, because it's just understanding if these are going away, you're going to have to be a person that knows how to process and utilize these tasks. But more importantly, you need to start going deeper into your knowledge. So you need to get to a tier 2 level. You need to get to a out of like the junior or tier 1 level faster and get into the actual person that's an expert at cybersecurity or whatever role, it being an engineer, being a SOC architect, being a cybersecurity analyst. Tier 2 faster. That's going to be your entry level point. But knowing the rules, knowing how to interact with and utilize these agents yourself and read those reports and be able to action off of them, you're going to be able to adapt faster because these are doing this job for you. You're going to get to the real kind of fun stuff in cybersecurity faster, and you can fine tune and focus your control in this space faster. So now you know the rules or the tasks that are going to go by the wayside. What does that mean for the jobs? Well, your SOC tier 1 analyst or your cybersecurity tier 1 kind of analyst or like tier 1 threat hunter, those are going to start to completely disappear altogether. 40 to, let's say, 70% of your workload, and pretty much everything that's sitting on this screen right now, it's going to be an agentic AI's responsibility, or some kind of like machine learning or script that's getting pulled together. And you want that. You do want this. These are repetitive tasks that a like that you want an AI that doesn't get tired and doesn't burn out from alert fatigue doing. So then when you're trying to get into a penetration test, when you're trying to do compliance analytics and auditing, all you're doing is overseeing a process that's already been pulled together for you, and it requires your actual real in-depth specialized knowledge to review whatever these workloads that were done by the AI agent are done, and check it for errors, check it for compliance standards, and really be able to utilize your expertise that you've spent time, effort, and energy in developing, doing your expertise, as opposed to being a glorified report puller. Basically, any repetitive triage, anything that is going to require some kind of like indicator compromise enrichment, or indicator compromise, or like correlation reports, patterns and anomalies, or trying to figure out the intent of somebody coming in and hitting traffic. All that stuff is going to give you AI is going to give you the ability to no longer have to deal with it. Junior pen testers, well, AI can now generate payloads. It can write exploits. It can automate reconnaissance and enumeration. So the junior pen testers that were setting up all of these standards and guardrails, well, it's just a click of a button now for AI agents to do. The areas that you can't be replaced as a pen tester are going to be like manually chaining exploits together, because you see how to pivot from, okay, we have one exploit here, and I can go and start getting into this system in a bunch of different ways. This only humans have the creativity to be able to do. OPSEC, doing recon against people with like telephone calls, or getting into conversations that require social engineering creativity, not assets that quite frankly you can put together these assets very quickly in AI now, and they're good. They're hard to spot, but the actual work behind trying to social engineer somebody, this is some of the least technical, best real world hackers are incredible at social engineering techniques, and they can get into any system just talking through and getting somebody to give them prioritized or privileged access through words. That right there is not something that AI, who knows, maybe there's going to be some AI 10 years from now that has the ability to really truly replicate a human being and figure out how to do it, but it's just not there yet. Last but not least, the junior compliance auditors and analysts, that's going to go by the wayside. It will. This is documentation. Analysts and auditors for compliance are notorious for having to be detail oriented, because you're pulling together a bunch of different documents and standards, and making sure that your business systems and cybersecurity solutions adhere to all of these compliance standards. Now, this is something where the real value of a human is going to be where they know how to run these compliance and audit reports. The agentic AI is going to go out, or the machine script is going to go out. It's going to pull all of these resources together, pull it together into a real good documented summary. And then you, as a human being, as an expert in auditing or analysis for compliance, are going to need to interpret that reporting. you really, instead of just utilizing these templates and copying them, which a lot of auditors and analysts do at the entry level, you're going to have to interpret them and communicate back across to your customer or stakeholder or whoever you're doing these audit reports and analyst compliance reports for, how to implement strategic ways of getting back into compliance, how to make sure that your systems are aligned with covering those gaps, working directly with other human beings to timeline out and figure out how to do patch management that doesn't disrupt the business systems. This is where a lot of the skill sets that you're going to need are going to be more human related, things that AI or machines will never be able to replace, but it's going to require a technical expertise and a lot of soft skill and communication. And that's one of the major reasons why I went first with identifying what's going to be replaced, but let's dive deeper into some of those things where you have to start putting your time and your energy into. The first is humans make decisions. What is going to get scanned? What is going to get patched? How can we do this in a way that doesn't disrupt the flow of how humans are interacting with the web application or the application? It doesn't disrupt the actual business motives and needs that we have right here and right now. AI can make a recommendation, but the human beings in the organization need to validate what we're going to do. But because this is in cybersecurity, it's going to require you as a decision maker, a stakeholder, or as somebody that's in, let's say, a cybersecurity consultant role, to understand how the entire framework works and what decisions and what process needs to happen next and how to keep the business going on track. So understand, you're having to insert yourself of understanding context that you see here in the last thing, context matters more to the humans than an AI or a machine learning can't do. The machine is going to try to make the best possible security solution, not the best possible business solution for whatever the human is doing, trying to come in. Zero trust models with AI are a lot easier to implement simply because, hey, nobody can come in unless we have put them on the guest list and they have the proper authorization and authentication to come in. That's easy for AI to implement. But the hard part becomes, okay, I have a web application that's open to the world. Everybody that comes in as a potential customer, also a potential hacker. How do we differentiate the two to make sure we're running fast, we're running well, we're keeping the attackers out, but we are also defending, we're keeping the user experience high. This is where like creative attack strategy, where understanding context, where being able to communicate back and forth with stakeholders and understand what your users and your application, your web application, your phone application, your business workers that are working behind the scenes with the technology are all utilizing, and what their pain points are and how you can still be secure, but give them exactly what they need in order to perform their role, their job, or to buy from you. Those are leadership qualities and communication qualities AI will never be able to replace. This is where your pivot is going to be more soft skills. It's going to be more understanding the landscape. It's going to be getting into and understanding not just business context, but security context, and being able to put all of them and merge them all together. It may seem like a daunting task, but understand all of the basic technical detail tasks are going to be handled by AI, which requires you as, let's say, an auditor to understand reporting faster and deeper. For you as a cybersecurity architect or engineer to let the AI do all the penetration testing, vulnerability scanning, and then you look over all of that and figure out, okay, wait a minute. We need to patch, manage all of these things. I know we have, let's say it's the holidays right now and, Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up. We need to have all of these things patched and tested just in case we potentially have to roll it back because it might block legitimate traffic. We need to have all this done like 2 to 4 weeks before our biggest holiday rush is going to come in. Those decisions cannot be made by AI, but those are things as an expert in cybersecurity and communication, creative attack strategy, you're going to have to understand and know. So right now, the way you can start looking at this as an entry-level person, instead of looking at it as a competition with AI, start utilizing AI in order to automate these tasks that a lot of the entry-level people are doing. Pick your path as to which cybersecurity role you want to have. Let's set up an example here. Let's say that you want to be a SOC analyst or a SOC architect, right? Usually before, you would start learning all of the tier 1 roles. Now, let's say for the next 3 months, you're going to learn how to utilize AI to pull together all of the tier 1 tasks that we just went over, like let's say automating SIM or SOAR reports, utilizing AI to pull together triaging and researching and reporting of incidents as they come in real time. And then you're going to take, let's say after the 3 months of learning all of that, the next 3 months to really get into tier 2 type of attack mitigation, attack analysis, malware deconstruction, threat reporting. You're essentially going to iterate through the beginner phases of cybersecurity 10 times faster because you're going to utilize AI to take care of all of those roles, understand how all the reporting really works, be able to read it, but you're not spending your time doing it. You're spending your time going deeper into the level of knowledge you need in order to get the brand new entry-level job. The next thing that you're going to do is you're literally going to start building skills that AI can't replace. You need to start, like, once you know how to do AI reporting and triage and research, start getting into like threat models and creatively thinking, okay, how can I laterally move through this? And what would an attacker do to laterally move through my network? And create some hands-on labs, like actually go and buy hardware, plug a router in, and then have an actual home lab. You can do this very cheaply. I actually wound up learning networking off of about $300. I had a full-on router, an actual physical firewall, which you don't do a physical firewall anymore. Those are silly. I had 2 old computers. One I used as a server, another one I used as a domain server and email server. And then I had endpoints as if I was an actual user inside of a company. And I ran that, and I wound up looking at the traffic, running PCAPs through Wireshark and using a pfSense firewall to kind of try to pivot and attack the servers, the email servers, intentionally blowing up malware and phishing emails to figure out how to do remediation. And like doing these things that really enhanced my understanding of a context and building out how to build a true expertise of how either a cybersecurity analyst or a SOC architect would structure their life in order to utilize that information to go deep and become tier 2 and senior and above. This is how I was able personally to become a security architect in a right about a 4-year, 5-year time frame, when it usually takes around 6 to 8 years to do it. The specialization that you could start looking at is some of these emerging technologies, and I'm going to go into this here in just a second, but AI incident response, AI model security, shadow AI detection. 2 years ago, the real big buzzword were like shadow APIs, because people were utilizing APIs for everything. That's still an issue. It's still a major factor. But now it's going to be AIs that are running, like agentic AIs that are suddenly getting scope creep, or have been running and doing all of these things, and nobody's really paying attention to them, but they don't serve their function anymore, but sit there as a security hole to potentially blow up in your face by an attacker. Or prompt injections, where the LLM is sitting exposed to the world, and if it's not sanitized, if you don't have some kind of, let's say, web application firewall that is paying attention to how attackers might be trying to exploit the information that the AI is trained to do, that if you don't have the expertise of setting up an appropriate response to those, your company could potentially expose a lot of data and a lot of information just due to inappropriate injections from the prompt. And you can become somebody that knows how to scrub or defend against a lot of prompt injection, or any kind of like LLM application security, like the API is getting connected to, because they're going to have repository information like connecting to your backend database. They're a web app, essentially, the AI is, but it's also going to be one of those that it has full access to the back end with a privileged level. And if it's not appropriately secure, and you are somebody that has the capability of being able to secure it, you're going to have a job for a very, very long time. Last but not least, this one in and of itself is exactly what I've diagrammed out inside of this entire video. And it is move towards decision-making roles, where you go very deep into certain and specific subjects or types of capabilities inside of an organization, where your knowledge can't be replicated by AI, and it's so deep that you're a decision maker in the process. You'd be very shocked at how quickly, when a lot of the repetitive tasks that most of your time and your energy used to be done doing, like reporting and having to pull together a lot of information or audits or compliance, when all of that goes away, your capability of being able to fine tune and focus on one or two specialized areas of knowledge, leadership, and communication, how quickly you can advance your education and knowledge point to a point where you really are invaluable to a company and you can't be replaced. So, things to remember: AI will help with the tasks, but humans always make the call. If you start building all of your skill sets towards like tier 2 SOC, DFIR, or AppSec, or cloud security, a lot of these areas where you're making, you could get to an architect's position who designs out the whole entire system faster, because you're not stuck having to do a lot of these silly repetitive tasks, but instead you're understanding the systems as a whole and making those decisions faster. You can get into management positions faster. Are there going to be fewer of these positions because AI is going to take them over? Yeah. But it means you, my badass friend, can go in and start getting that real in-depth knowledge that's going to make a huge impact in an organization faster. You will be a subject matter expert faster because you're not having to do the boring, repetitive stuff that an AI agent can do. So essentially, how you can future proof yourself over the next 10 years is start looking at new emerging jobs that are coming up and put together all of these details. So some of the jobs that are coming up, like an AI security analyst, a AI threat hunter, a machine identity and agent governance person, where you're overseeing the system that is going to give out identities or govern the process of permissions and things like that. Also, being an AI security engineer, being able to deploy the actual AIs that are going to go out there and do the role and do the tasks. Like, these jobs aren't going to go away. They're just going to pivot and take on the role of doing that job with the AI attached to it. You become an expert at both the job and the AI at the same time. Wrapping this all up and really truly figuring out how to stay employable for the next decade, you have to create a plan from this. So we know what role AI is taking inside of cybersecurity now. We also understand all of the repetitive tasks that are going to be replaced. Immediately get in and start learning AI on how to do those repetitive tasks to a point where you can set up the AI agent, understand the reports that are coming back, and get all of those tasks done quickly. That's the step number one. Number two, identify the path that you want to get into on entry level point. So if you're looking at, let's say, a compliance auditor, you are already pulling all of this information together by an AI rule or an AI machine learning task or script, having it all together, pulling the reports, sorting them through AI, and then you need to go into understanding, hey, this is matching against this framework, this NIST framework, or this HIPAA compliance framework, or PCI DSS framework. Does it look good? Yes, it does. Oh, wait a minute. No, there's an error here. I know this because I have the knowledge to do this. This is where you're utilizing tools to iterate through this job faster, and you get into your expertise faster, and you go and specialize in that expertise. If I were doing this as, let's say, a SOC person, I'm going to learn how to utilize AI agents for reporting, for looking at indicators of compromise, for setting severity of alerts. And then I'm going to specialize in being a tier 2 analyst that takes the severity 1 or severity 2 alerts that are coming in and learn how to mitigate those threats, or how to do malware analysis, how to break down a lot of this malware and detonate the payloads that are trying to be delivered in a sandbox, and ensure that those get mitigated fast and mitigated and blocked off of the systems. So you see, this was usually taking about, let's say, 2 to 3 years of tier 1 experience first. Now I'm going to utilize my first 2 to 3 months of education to utilize AI to take care of all of those tasks that entry level people used to do. And I'm going to go deep into the role that I want to from the jump, from the start, and become a subject matter expert in it. And that, my friends, is exactly how you can start leveraging AI, become a subject matter expert in whatever role it is that you really want, and become bulletproof for the next 10 to 20 years, because you're leveraging this amazing technology, not trying to fight against it and be scared. I hope that makes sense. Please, if you've got questions, pivot right down below. I am going to start to release labs from this point forward on how to do these things. I also have a course coming up where I'm going to teach you how to be a tier 2 SOC analyst that leverages SIM AI data, and you're able to triage information that's coming in. You'll be able to transition into being a full-on cybersecurity analyst, or for an organization that's pulling in a bunch of data, culminating all the reports and all the information in an AI fashion, and then being able to pivot and take action based off of whatever the AI reports on how to remediate or get the information specifically to the subject matter expert that's going to handle it, like a security engineer or some kind of SOC engineer or architect. That is the future. That is your future. That is the future of the channel. Can't wait to jump into it. Let me know how you're implementing this. Let me know if you have questions down below. And until next time, my friends, you have to stay up with the times. Let's jump in. Let's start learning AI together.